Kelsey right here with South by Southwest. We are at the world premiere of Arcadian starring Nicolas Cage. You're no stranger to South by Southwest. What do you love most about having your films here?
The enthusiastic audience. I think people that come to this film festival are genuine film lovers, movie enthusiasts, and you can feel it in the room and you can hear it in the response. They're here for all the right reasons. I don't think it's about making deals, it's about genuinely enjoying movies.
Tell me a little bit about your character, Paul, and what made you want to represent this character.
Two of my favorite genres are science fiction and family drama, independently spirited family drama. I grew up watching East of Eden, and I always thought about Raymond Massey's character and James Dean's character and Richard Duvall's character as the brothers and Massey as the father. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting to mash those two genres together? So Paul is the father, and he's in this situation with his two sons. The mother is not there, just like in East of Eden. That was a dynamic that I grew up with. She wasn't really around. So for me, it was a personal project, and it was a chance to combine two genres that I value.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. I look forward to seeing it. I'm with Jaden Martell, cast of Arcadian. Are you excited to be here at South by Southwest again?
Of course, yes. I'm very excited. Had a premiere here 2 nights ago.
That's right.
Yes, so glad to be back. Same theater.
Glad to be back. Have you
A
left?
little bit hotter now.
Just a little bit during the day. We're entering spring.
Yeah, I live in New York, so it's cold and I'm enjoying the warmth.
Well, welcome to Texas.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your character.
Yeah, so this movie's about, it's really about this relationship between father and his two sons, these two twins, and I play the less athletic and, but a little bit more of an inventor and smarty pants, kind of a little bit of a, he's got his flaws, he's like a little bit pretentious and thinks he knows better, but when there's only 3 people in the entire world, or 2 people that you can talk to, your flaws come out. But yeah, it's about this relationship and their dynamic in the middle of an apocalypse.
Casual
stuff.
What was it like working opposite Nick Cage?
Oh, dude, I mean, it was intimidating at first, of course, but he's so, you can tell he's very hardworking, and it's not always like that when someone larger than life comes on set, and obviously things are catered towards you, and there's this pressure, but then there's also less pressure in a way to actually give it your all when you're already something. And it's he's coming in with me and Max and Ben, and we're all like young people, but he really guided us all, and I learned so much from just being around him and watching how he works and how he operates, and he's so thoughtful, and it was a privilege. Yeah.
So kind of refreshing for somebody of his stature to show up on set and actually do the work with y'all.
Yeah, I'm not saying that everybody does that, and that's a rare thing. I've been very lucky to work with cool people, but he was certainly you don't expect. It's Nicolas Cage. He's one of the greats, and he's been doing this for forever. And but yeah, he brought so much, and we got to change things on the fly because of his understanding of the character and his understanding of my character sometimes as his son, and it was so, I don't know, it just felt so productive. I felt like I learned so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much for chatting with us. I look forward to seeing the film. With Benjamin Brew, director of Arcadian. Welcome back to South by Southwest. What made you want to bring this film here?
I love South by Southwest. So I had a film 2016, and it played here, and it was Nick, and it was the best screening ever. And then all this, I think it's just like the perfect festival. And I've seen a few now, and I just think it's like Austin's a great town. It makes sense to have it here. The film's always fun. They're great energy. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the film.
So it's I guess we consider it a horror film, but it's really a family coming-of-age story that takes place after the world's ended. And so it's got almost kind of this like biblical feel about like this first family after the fall of humanity trying to. And so Nicolas Cage plays Paul, who's trying to raise his two sons and give them lessons about how to build a better world while they're also being threatened at night. So that's the movie.
That sounds intense and exciting, and I'm very here for it. What was it like directing such an unbearable weight of massive talent like Nick Cage?
I love Nick. Nick is the best. He's down there. I got to direct him before once, and I loved that experience. And so when this came along, I was like, I gotta work with Nick again. He's just, as a human being, he's one of the most generous and genuine people. But also as an actor, he is extremely smart and incredibly well read, well seen. And so when you make a movie with Nick, your role as the director is to discover your humility so you can absorb the school you're going to go to with him and try to offer where you can, but mostly just be there to like grow. And so each time I've worked with him, it's just been film school for me. So yeah, I'll anytime someone's like Nicolas Cage wants to work together, I'm like immediately. I love him.
Love that. What are you hoping that people take away with this film after watching it?
I guess I feel that the film. So I grew up very close to my brother. In fact, the first movie that I was referring to, I directed with my brother. It's called The Trust. It played here in 2016. I was with Nicolas Cage, and so this film I think is really about a coming of age story about what it means to be growing up and becoming an adult, and I think a lot of coming of age stories are all about how, as a child, you start to understand the world. But I think I want to make a coming of age story about how you have to realize that you are going to create the world yourself. And so that's kind of a little bit of what it is accepting that responsibility that isn't just about how you're being affected by the world, it's about how you're going to change it too. So yeah, that's it.
Amazing. I'm really looking forward to seeing this, and I really appreciate you talking to us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad I'm here.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
With Maxwell Jenkins, cast of Arcadian. Tell me a little bit about your character and what attracted you to the role.
Yeah, so I play Thomas, and I think what really attracted me to the role is, I've gotten to play characters before who were squeaky clean, always made the right decision, and kind of were on that hero's journey in a very classic way, but Thomas is a hero in a unique way. He makes mistakes. He's not perfect. I think what I really appreciate about him is he's a young man who wants to grow up in a world that won't allow him to grow up. The world that they live in doesn't afford them the freedom that they would need to stretch out and to make mistakes and to grow. So I think I really appreciate it. I think it's kind of similar to how a lot of young people feel nowadays. And I think it's similar constraints taken to the extreme. So I think I could relate to it in a way. I also loved that I got to do some really fun stunts and drive a car and run around and run through the woods. So it was all around a super, kind of a no-brainer decision.
Amazing. What was it like working opposite Nick Cage?
Nick was incredible. I don't need to tell you guys how amazing Nick is as an actor, but as a person, someone who comes to set every day with ideas, open to collaboration though, has strong intention of where he thinks the scene needs to go, and he's willing to talk and collaborate with you to make that happen, which he doesn't need to do. He's Nick Cage. So I really appreciated getting to work with him. And I learned a lot working opposite him and Jaden and Sadie and Ben. And it was all around one of those projects that you really discover something new about yourself on.
Thank you so much for talking to us. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Tell me a little bit about your character and what drew you to the role.
My character is Charlotte. She is the daughter of the two wealthier homeowners in the ranch near the family of Nick and Max and Jaeden. What drew me to the role is that she's a female character who's written in kind of a way that she is just strong without it being forced and without it being like pushed. She's a badass, and I just love that, and it's such a physical role as well, and it's not like pretty, and I think that's really what drew me in. It's really unique. I think you don't get that every day.
Oh, that's so exciting. Have you been to South by Southwest before?
No, this is my first time.
Oh my gosh, what are you looking forward to most about this festival and bringing your movie to it?
I'm looking forward to people seeing the film. I mean, it's so exciting getting to share it at such a wonderful festival. I hope to see a few films while I'm here. It's a gorgeous city as well. I've never been to Austin, but it's stunning and it's so exciting.
I know you have places to be, but thank you so much for taking the time. Yeah, thanks.
And can we please welcome back to the South by Southwest stage, Director Ben Brewer. Hello. And Jaden Martell. Oh, they're coming down? All right, well, I'm going to call them out one by one. Or how long?
Should I just pretend they're like...
Huh? Do you want to act like them?
I don't know. They're on their way.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting for people, pull out your phones and start voting for this in the Audience Awards.
Oh, yeah.
Say it like 10 more times.
You gotta vote for this movie. None of the other great movies. This movie. Ride the high. Right now, this is the most you'll ever like it. Vote now.
Well, how are you feeling?
I feel great. It's nice to have a moment that's just me before the actors get up here, so you can really soak in who did this. I am bullshitting right now. I really need our great cast to come out.
Do we have anyone? I'll start going one by one.
Oh, there's someone.
All right, Sadie, come on out. And then, come up to the green line. Do we have Maxwell back there? Maxwell Jenkins?
Max?
No?
Where did everyone go? Oh, they went to the loo. She's English. Did you believe that? As American, you thought that was an American person. It was not.
Twist.
What? I gotta go.
Here we go. All right. So now
Hey
we're gonna-
everybody, thanks for coming out.
Find your light at the gray line. That's where you should be. All right, now I have lots of questions about this film, but we'll start small. I mean, how did it come about? You two have worked together, but what's the origin for this?
Predates me.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming out. I'm Mike Nyon. I'm the writer of the movie. The origin of the film was I was stuck inside, like all of us, over COVID. And I have twin sons who at the time were 12. They're now 16. And I tried to keep them entertained at dinner as much as possible and keep them from fighting with each other, which that scene is reflected. And I made up this story based on them as the two leads. They followed the story much closer. Any story I told, if they were the heroes. So that was the general idea, and made it all the way to here.
Yeah, that's our producer David and Braxton down there. David Wolf, Braxton Pope.
And what were your and Nick Cage's first conversations about for this?
So we had made The Trust together,
Fantastic movie.
and it played
Which
here.
was here.
This very thing, amazing.
In the same room.
And so then this project, I read the script before I talked to Nick, but I knew Nick was doing it. I'd do anything to work with Nick again. And so, and I love the brother story. And so then, yeah, I think our first talking about it was just, I don't want to speak for you, Nick, but we were talking about how you wanted to play Paul, how you wanted to play the father. That's what I remember.
Right, well what happened was, so Mike and I worked together. He's actually my manager. And we've worked together for over 15 years. And lo and behold, I discovered he's also a screenwriter. And he sent me this script. And I immediately sparked to it because my upbringing, I was primarily raised by my father, and I had an older brother. And so having been a fan of independently spirited family dramas, I wanted to make a movie that I could recall my own upbringing with my father. In fact, my father said the line, "Are we not men?" And he would really do that. He would stick the knife in the wood plates, and we would all do that. "Are we not men?" He said it, I wrote it. I put it in the movie. But what's interesting is I wanted to combine two genres. Well, if you put science fiction and horror together, and then you combine independently spirited drama, I want to see what that mashup would do. So when Mike said we were going to bring Ben in, who I had a great relationship with on The Trust, I thought, okay, let's try this experiment. And then Ben cast the hell out of the movie and got Maxwell and Jaden, which I have to go on record right now, they're as good as it gets. I saw the movie for the first time with you right now. I have not seen the movie until now, even though I'm a producer. I saw little cuts here and there, but they didn't let me, I wasn't invited to see it before they locked it. That's how it rolls with actors, you know? But anyway, I got to work with these two, and I learned so much from them. They keep me interested and keep me on top of my game. So I'm so thankful I got to work with you guys. You're brilliant.
I mean, for the younger cast, what were those early days on set like? Because you have such a great family unit chemistry and a sense of shared history, and so what went into establishing that?
Well, we were stuck in Ireland together, for starters, staying at this resort in the middle of nowhere. That's impossible to escape. And I think very quickly, me and Max became super close. I look at him as a brother now, for real, and I love his family too. And I feel very fortunate that we got on, because totally could have been different.
I never thought of that.
Made it so much easier. But I think it's Ben too, creating the environment. Him and Frank, our DP. Shout out Frank.
There he is.
And Zach too, the environment you guys created, because you're all just buddies, and even the way you shot it, how loose it is, and you never, like Nick said before, you never know when the camera's going to be on you. And that loose environment, that camaraderie was special.
Yeah, what about you, Max?
Yeah, I mean, kind of echoing what Jaden said, but also, I mean, Jaden's a few years older than me, and I got into this world by complete accident. And Jaden's career was always one of those that you look up to as a younger actor, so I'd always known about him, and when I got the opportunity to come do this, and I found out it was Jaden, it was like, no question. But it also help that he was an amazing human being, and he is like a brother to me now, so absolutely.
And then what about you, Sadie? What about you coming on? What were your early days on set like?
Well, I actually found out I got the role a week before we started filming, so I was pretty nervous going in, but I think the cast, I mean, Jaeden and Max were just phenomenal. They're such wonderful people to work with and also be friends with. I mean, we did golfing in the resort. We had a great time. But it was such a welcoming set. I've worked at the studios before. I worked with some of the crew before, and it was just the most lovely group of people, and obviously fostered by this man here. It was just such a treat, such a treat.
Now, I have to know a lot more about the Inhuman cast in this. And I'm curious, if, for those who don't know, Ben has a huge VFX background. And I'm curious, where did the design process start there? How hands-on were you for the VFX of your own film? How much did you let go?
Yeah, I did a lot of the VFX in this, so yeah, my background VFX is, I worked on a movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once that premiered there. Zach Stoltz was the head of VFX on that, and so I dragged him to Ireland to work on this. Zach was also the second unit director of this movie. And so we have a company called Pretend, and our thing was that we want to see if we can make, big worlds with small movies, knowing what we know how to do, and we've worked in the industry, but we're self-taught, and we specialize in using software that anyone can use. So there's a ton of CG work in this that I did in a program called Blender, which is completely free. Yeah, it is a trip to watch something you made on your laptop on a free piece of software playing here. It's like really cool. But yeah, the monster is like a very interesting thing because my brother Alex, who's also here, we used to direct together forever. Now he's a sculptor. He sculpts for a company called Mondo, and he is an incredible designer for them. And we designed the creature together. So I drew it, he modeled it. Eventually I was animating it at times. Not all, we had animators, but I did some of it. And so there's this really beautiful moment where we have Jaden and Max are playing brothers, and they're fighting this thing that me and my brother made. And I don't know what the therapist will tell me about that later, but it's nice.
And in particular for the creatures, the sound design is so good. I actually very distinctly remember watching when this was submitted, when it clicks into place what the source of the sound is, and I was just like, oh, holy shit, that's so good. So what was the sound design process like? Are there hidden animal sounds in there, unlikely sources?
Yeah, so we had an incredible sound team. They're here. Where are you guys? You're around. Brian? Yeah, we were just, I've never been more blown away by sound work that came in. And you can just tell when you're dealing with artists who really care, and I'm an artist who really cares. But yeah, in terms of my direction on the actual monster, I was, the main reference I had was Val Lewton's film Cat People. There's this great scene in Cat People, the famous scene where in a swimming pool. And there's something so human about the sound of this kind of monster. You don't see this cat person. And I thought, oh, that's really what I want. I want to sound human. That will really get under there. I think the other kind of thing I have is like, it can't sound like something coming from more than one throat. Like, just make it sound like it's coming from one thing. And yeah, so all of the breathing and stuff. And also got more of a focus on the sound of its body and clicking and not as much roars and stuff like that. Like, there's one scene when it first jumps at them, and we had done a bunch of temp sound stuff, and I showed it to my brother Alex, and he was like, the thing's weird enough. Like, you don't need all the crazy sounds and shit. So, but yeah, no, props to the sound team at Buffalo 8, headed by Brian Berger. I mean, they just were absolutely astoundingly good, honestly.
And for the last question about the monsters, did they have a specific name? Like, what do you refer to them in production?
Well, it's funny because sometimes it's practical arms that we made. That's Zach's arms. Zach was like he had these gloves, his arms cast with these monster gloves that we replaced with a lot of CG. I don't know, Zach, you called them like chatterboxes? Oh yeah, we call him Mr. Jones because we were making fun of our line producer Jake because he's really into the Counting Crows, and there's nothing wrong with that, but and so we called him Mr. Jones, and we used to play Mr. Jones in the office constantly while we're looking at, that's that.
And I mean, this has such an incredible look to it, and then also just the location work obviously lends a huge amount of production value. Can you talk about shooting where you did and what it was like as you guys were all self-contained there? What was that?
Yeah, I mean, Ireland, I'll say really quickly and then other people can talk. Ireland was the best crew ever. I mean, they were just unbelievable. Shoots in Ireland. Also, just the movie has a gorgeous look to it. We shot in the winter and you got this really nice low light all day, and just kind of we were blessed in that way. But yeah, I cannot speak highly enough of the Irish crew. They're the most hardworking people. And also, not to keep going on about Irish crews, but they have an amazing character. They support each other. Because there's tension on set will happen. But I've never seen a crew diffuse each other's tension with humor and just all this stuff. Yeah. So that's kind of what I think about, is just how much I love working with our Irish crew. But anyone else? Ireland?
I mean, yeah, just not to talk too much about the Irish crew, but yeah, I've been grateful to work with some amazing crews in Chicago and Vancouver, and but the Irish crew are really special. Yeah, we had a limited amount of time to do this, and we knew it was going to be run and gun, and there couldn't have been a better crew to make our jobs easier. Especially, I just want to give a shout out to the hair and makeup department, because if you guys didn't notice, my hair was pretty chopped up in that movie. And yeah, our amazing hair designer, Linda, we went through like this whole lookbook and talk about what we were going to do with my hair, and it really was such a great way into the character to look in the mirror every morning and see that. Didn't let you escape it, so it was great.
One other thing about Ireland is how cinematic it was. I think the movie, like the way Ben shot it and Frank shot it, like it really added just so much to the landscape of the movie and the texture and the day and night of it all of the movie. So I think it was an awesome place for not only the crew but also just the cinema and the beauty of the movie, which is a real testament to Ben and the actors and everyone up here.
Just real quick, one thing we did not conquer about Ireland was golf. So Sadie said that they played golf. They did not.
We got kicked off.
They tried to play golf, and they were immediately kicked out for not having, well, I don't know, because then we were like, oh, they got kicked off. Well, me and Frank and Jake and Zach were like, oh, we're gonna go play golf. We'll see how. And we got like ushered basically off the course. So yeah, we did not conquer golf. We showed our not belonging. You guys were so mad. That was very funny.
Yeah, they didn't like my Doc Martens on the golf course, field, whatever you call it.
We came wearing our Sunday best, and
yeah, we did dress up for this. I went back and
You all
changed
came out
twice.
to talk about golf, didn't you?
Well, I do have another question for you specifically. I mean, you're such a student of film. What were your reference points for this character? What did you two talk about? What did you and the writer talk about?
What it is it's a mashup for me. It's my two favorite genres, the independently spirited family drama, think East of Eden or Ordinary People, and then it's the sci-fi horror. And you put those two together and maybe you get Arcadian. That's what I was interested in.
And when it came to working with all your various department heads, did you have specific references, homework that you assigned, or what were those conversations? Particularly with the production design, because the production design is great. And for a dystopian film or a post-apocalyptic film, it still has its own distinct, unique world building.
Thanks, yeah. Shane McEnroe was our production designer. fantastically talented. I really want everybody on a film to enjoy what they're making, and so I try to guide it, but if I get the sense that I'm seeing somebody's vision, I don't want to get in the way of it. I just think if you're building something that makes sense to you, that's going to come out better. And since I'm very hands-on with the visual effects and stuff like that, it was a real back and forth between us. Like, he worked on the show Foundation, and so he had this workflow where he would do he would model things in CG or Unity, and so you could kind of put on the thing and look around. But I would take those models of his sets and I would put our monsters in them, and I'd previs that way. So we were kind of in the office going back and forth that way. And when you find a way as a director to express that you're in the trenches too, and like I'm figuring this stuff out, I think that you can make their life easier. You can speak the language of it better. But yeah,
All right, well, we're almost out of time, so for the last question, I think, if my memory's a blur, I wanted to say this in the intro, I'm such a huge fan of the way that this balances intimate character work amid the large scale. I'm curious for you as a director, but then also the actors, like how do you balance and find those small moments right before shit gets really crazy?
I'll say really quick and then I'll pass it down. You know, working with Nick, I like making movies because you're a student on a movie. Every movie is a student film for the director. And so my favorite memories on this are, knowing what we're shooting, knowing the scene, but then the magic that a great actor brings that doesn't get talked about enough, which would be, Nick and I standing outside and just, absorbing through conversation, what the scene's about, how we sharpen it, and getting in on that process. Because it's one thing to understand an actor's process, which everyone suggests if you're a filmmaker you should do, but to be with a master actor who's been in so many great films and really understands it, it's like, that's what I love. I loved standing outside before we shot something, talking about it very openly, very honestly, and that's where all the honesty came out. And yeah.
Just taking, I find this to be very photorealistic. It's not surrealistic. This is a very natural approach to film performance for all of us. And even the way we're regarding the creatures is almost naturalistic and scientific. It's not abstract in any way. So it's kind of like, again, reflecting on life experience and having an impressionistic recall of whatever I may remember of my father and my brothers, and then talking with Ben outside and his relationship with Alex, and then his father, and just talking about, well, what's the scene about? And then the synthesis is that Ben, the way he shoots is great for all of us, because he's very fluid, he's constantly moving. Sometimes he's photographing your hand and then he's up at your face, and so he's just catching everything as it goes. And then simultaneously, the three of us at the dinner table are riffing. We're riffing off of each other. We try to keep it loose and keep it spontaneous. And I didn't know Jaden, I didn't know Maxwell, but I could quickly see what I liked about their personalities and try to play to that and augment that. So it kept it fluid and spontaneous, and then Ben is moving the whole time. So that gave it that kind of, that feeling of being alive, that life. So it didn't feel like acting, it felt more like it was being, and we were really there, which is what I was most excited about, that we could play it together like it was actually happening.
I just want to say really quick, there's a couple improvised things. Well, there's, in a kind of a different way, like, we were following the script, but you write in the moment, you change. And one of the moments that was between Sadie and Max is when they were sitting at the tree and they played Crappy Apocalypse. That was a thing I just threw at you guys that day. I was like, you got to give each other 10 seconds to say how the world ended. And you guys did it beforehand, but what was so amazing and when you guys showed your abilities that you each did it as your characters. Like what you both came up with in that kind of spontaneous thing was like rooted in your craft. And it's like one of my favorite things up there, and it is a completely, sort of back to what Nick was saying, it's kind of like trying to get into the most naturalistic place with it. Yeah, and then Jaden, your insight into how brothers fight was like so good. That was our first conversation ever. Was like, you're like, I think that this is how they would fight. And I was like, please do this movie. And
I
then you
think
did.
also what helped too, and what I love so much about it is the habits and that you wrote, Mike. The kind of the fact that this apocalypse becomes mundane for these three people, that it's just business for them and survival. It's dinner time, lock up. Those little habits help so much too, to understand the rhythm of these people and this family.
And I love the attention to detail, like when you're doing that with your fingers to measure the sun and how much time. These little moments just add to the authenticity of the experience.
Very cool. Well, unfortunately, we have to leave it there, but as a reminder, pull out your phone and vote in the audience board.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
That does it for the premiere of Arcadian. Stay tuned for more coverage of the fest throughout the week.